right, my turn. Okay. Riches, listen to this. Riches are in the niches. Riches are in the niches. And that doesn't mean that you have to stick to one niche, right? Maybe a couple of you guys are like, well, what's a niche? A niche is something specific, a specific area of business that you focus on. It could be listings, it could be buyers, it could be probate, it could be anything. That's a niche. Each one of those things is a niche. And they say that the riches are in the niches. Doesn't mean that you have to stick to one niche, but being able to deal in different niches like I have is what has led to a lot of what we have today. Assets, companies, different things of that sort. So riches are in the niches. I'm completely convinced that riches are in the niches. That is very true. And I'm going to talk to you guys today about one niche that I got into a few years back, and it's made me a few $1 million, like within a matter of a couple of years. Actually, Maria Rodarte, that's here, she helped me sell one of them about a year and a half, a couple of years ago, where I purchased this commercial 6,000 square foot office building, medical building, whatever you want to call it. It's about 6,000 square feet in Oxnard. I purchased it for, I think it was like $495, and we ended up closing it like 3 or 4 years later for like 1.1 or 1.2, something like that. I think it was almost like $600,000-700,000 in profit within a few years. And this location served as my real estate office for those years as well. So I used it and I generated income because there was 16 offices or 18 offices in there, and I leased out individual office suites to people. So it generated income. It gave me a place to have my office and build my company, build my team. And I sold it and made hundreds of thousands of dollars on this one specific niche. It was a property that was on the market for, I think, about a year and a half before I bought it. Nobody's seen the potential in it. Nobody's seen the value in it. It was a little distressed, all those different things. And I say, you know what? I'm in a niche. I'm gonna jump into this niche, this commercial world niche. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna figure it out. I see vision in this property. It was an older building, needed a nice facelift, needed some nice landscaping, needed to be modernized. And that's what I did. I went in there with 50 grand. I went in there and redid floors. Boom, blew out all the floors. I epoxied everything, a beautiful metallic epoxy, nice floors. Redid some of the ceiling tiles, painted everything inside and out, put new baseboards, painted the exterior, put some nice stacked stone on the front of the building, did a little bit of landscaping, put up a sign. $50,000 later, it served as my office and my place of business and generated me income monthly. And then like 3 or 4 years later, when we sold it, I ended up selling it because I was able to get one tenant into this building on a good lease, and I was able to put it back on the market and generate almost $700,000 in profit within those few years, plus the amount of money that I generated leasing out the suites, and it went really, really well for me. So I want to talk to you about not underestimating the power of niching to something different, maybe looking at commercial, maybe looking at industrial. I'll talk to you guys about another industrial property that Maria and I are going to be working on that I bought about 14 months ago. I purchased this property for $1,050,000. It was an industrial complex with 4 auto mechanics and 4 body shops, 8 bays in total. And they had been there for 20 plus years. Every tenant, the rents are really, really low. Maintenance wasn't done on it for many, many years. The roof was leaking. It was not painted nicely. The pavement wasn't done. It didn't have fencing. And right now, as we speak, I hadn't touched it for a year. What I did when I bought it, though, is I went in there and I raised the rents right away. I right away went in there and raised the rent. Said, hey, you guys are only paying a couple $1,000s each unit, way too low. I bump up the rents like $500 each or whatever it may be. So boom, I automatically increased value there. The other thing was this whole year, I was trying to figure out what I was going to do with it, if I was going to flip it, if I was going to hold it long term, what I'm going to do with it. Right now, I'm in a position where I have a few projects, so I'm gonna cash out on that one and do an exchange to another project that we're going to be working on, or several projects that we're going to be working on. And I just started dumping money into it the last couple weeks. We're probably about 25 grand into it. The building is painted. The roof is all done nicely now. We touched up the roof. We painted the building. We're going to do all the asphalt right now. It's going to cost us about another 25 grand to do all the asphalt on the building. We're going to stripe the parking spots. We're going to divide it all up nicely, do all that good stuff. And based on what the market is yielding right now, we're going to list that property for 1.7 million. 12, 13, 14 months later, how am I going to list it for 1.7 million, or 1.699 is, I think, the magic number? Well, right now, as soon as the building's finished painted, which it pretty much is, the roof is nicely done and the roof's no longer leaking, the fences are up, and the asphalt's going to be all nice and black and done and striped and looking pretty. Be like, hey guys, been a year, 14 months since your last rent increase. I'm going to bump up the rent again. The good thing about commercial properties, that most of the time commercial properties do not have rent control. There's a lot of areas now in California that have rent control. Anything commercial properties usually do not have any type of rent control. The local governing bodies, the local ordinance do not say anything about rent control or maintaining rents at a certain price or percentage increases or whatever it may be at all. So you can really do whatever the market yields, whatever the market yields. So I'm going to be able to list the property for this price and probably put $500,000 in our pocket because we increased the rents, which increases the cap rate, right? We beautified it a little bit, did some maintenance on it, going to give it turnkey for a new buyer. We just did a phase one report. Phase one report comes in and doing environmentals. If there was no past environmental issues, any spillages or anything like that with these industrial complexes, and the phase one report comes out clean, any lender will lend on it. Not an issue. You can go get an SBA loan. You can get a commercial financing loan. You can do whatever you want. Go get whatever loan you want. Plus, now I increase the rents, which increases the cap rate, which now increases the value, because commercial properties are usually valued based on type of building it is, the use for it, what's the best and highest in use. But more than anything, most of the time, commercial properties are worth money when there's tenants in place that are paying a good amount of rent. And that's how investors determine a cap rate. Usually most investors are looking for between 5 and 8% cap rate. That's what they're looking for. If you give them a 5 or 6 or 7, that's a pretty good cap rate. Anything over a 7 or an 8 cap rate, that's really, really good for them. So at 1.699, they're going to be getting about a 7% cap rate, more or less, almost an 8% cap rate with this industrial property. So I might even be able to list it for a little bit more, but I don't want to do that. I want to get out of this property here pretty soon, and I want to move on to other projects that we're doing. But that's a niche. I've only held the property for 13 months, 14 months. I'm putting about $50,000 into the property, and it's going to bring back over $500,000. It's going to bring back over $500,000. And all we had to do was buy it, do a little bit of work to it, increase rents, make sure that the tenants are good, make sure the roof's not leaking. What I love about industrial properties usually is that there's usually no heating, AC. There's usually none of that. They don't have heating, HVAC. They don't have a lot of different things. There's only a couple of bathrooms in this entire complex. It's all like usable workspace is really what it is. That's all there is. It's concrete slab. It's block walls, a couple restrooms, a couple sinks. That's it. There's really nothing else. If the roof isn't leaking and the plumbing's all good, there's really nothing else to maintain. Everything else, the actual tenant maintains. It's good to go. So it's not really a big deal at that point. So with that said, I think that looking at different niches or looking at different areas of business to work on or to invest in or to buy or to help your clients see it that way is also a really, really good way to make tons and tons of money in an area where maybe most agents aren't looking. Most agents are looking for real estate investments for their buyers, right? That's what they're looking for. That's kind of where they're focused on. They're not necessarily looking at these industrial spaces, at these office spaces, or even like businesses. I'm going to give you guys one last one before we leave, but another good one is businesses. Looking at businesses that you see potential in that are distressed, that people just want to exit. Either they're retiring, they're frustrated and tired with the business, or they never had a real vision, or they never had a real way of exploding that business and making money there. Or there's some business that are successful, been doing well for many years, and they have so much more potential, but the current ownership didn't see it, or they do see it, but they're just not going to do it. They're not going to reinvest more money into marketing. They're not going to reinvest more money into more people's. And I can give you guys an example of a mini mart that I did as a flip. Took over a mini mart for free. For free. I met the landlord to this building. The landlord said, "Well, David, I like you a lot. I think you're a good fit tenant. I have this building. There's a liquor store in there. There's a laundromat in there. And the tenants are really awful. They don't pay me the rent on time. They don't take care of the place. It's a mess. It's a big mess. Would you like to lease the space? Their lease is up." I went to go look at it and I said, "Oh, wow. That's a moneymaker." So much opportunity there. It was a mess. It wasn't clean. The laundry facilities were also a mess. They needed to change some washers, some dryers, fix it up, paint it up, decorate it, clean it up. All this different stuff. The building was ugly on the outside. The pavement was ugly. Did all that stuff. I said, "Sure, I'll sign a lease. Where do I sign?" Signed the lease. They got evicted. I moved in to a liquor store that had been operating already for probably 35, 40 years. I went in there. I remodeled the entire building inside and out. I spent about $250,000. The liquor store and the laundromat. Remodeled the inside and outside. And then I said, "What the beep am I going to do now? I don't really want to run a liquor store. I don't really want to be stuck here all this time." So what did I do? I started marketing the hell out of the laundromat and the liquor store. I got the buzz going locally in my local area. We're like, "Oh, shoot, those guys are the big boys in town. The laundromat's nice. We're running a bunch of marketing videos. The mini mart is doing all these cool Mexican snacks and drinks and all this other stuff, and horchata and jamaica and tosilocos and mangoneadas, all that cool stuff, right? They're even serving the Mexican ice cream in there. They sell beer. They have all the goodies. They got the tortillas. They got, slushy machines. That was a 7-Eleven, fully built out 7-Eleven with the Mexican, Hispanic, Latino twist to it, because that's the type of area it was. Created a huge buzz for about 5 months. Finally got the neighbors. There was a liquor store across the street on the 2 corners. 3 blocks away, another liquor store. Finally got all the owners of the liquor stores getting a little nervous because my marketing was so good, and that was making it seem like we were doing so good. Everybody came to me. "Hey, David, you should get out of this business. Want to sell it to me?" "Yeah, how much you'll give me?" "Oh, 450,000. "Nah, you're crazy. Get out of here." Another one came. "Hey, David, you should sell me this business." "Okay, how much?" 550,000. I'm like, "Nah." He's like, "David, you don't know what the hell you're doing. You know nothing about this type of business." I'm like, "Yeah, I'll figure it out though." "No, you need to leave. This is not your business. You're not going to do well." "Okay, I'll figure it out. But if you really want it, give me $1 million. You get the laundromat, you get the liquor store, you get everything." "No, you're crazy. Get out of here." Boom. I have another guy that comes in and tells me, "What do you want?" I told him, "You know what? I'll take $750,000. He said, "Done." Shook my hand. We opened escrow. We closed in a month. I ran the store for 6 months. That's it. Sold it for $750,000 minus my $250,000 initial investment. I made $500,000 in 6 months on this business flip. I'm gonna call it, on this business investment / flip. $500,000 in 6 freaking months because I was a good marketer. And obviously beautified the store, put money into it, made it look good and clean and bright and all this other cool stuff. And I made $500,000, and that's a niche in itself. Don't discount some of these things that you might see that might be gold mines that you can turn into a gold mine, that you can put back on the market, that you can sell it, and you can make hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars with them. All right, guys, I hope I gave you a little motivation. I hope I gave you guys a little encouragement. These are all true stories. You can verify with any of my team members. Completely true, 100% accurate. I might be inaccurate with like a few $1,000s here and there, but I had to make it juicy. I had to make it juicier. So that's where we're at. Anybody have any questions?